Hi guys, my name is Chiquita Robertson. If you're working a 9 to 5 and you're looking to bring in extra income, I have 5 questions that you need to ask yourself before you start a side hustle. All right, so let's get to it. Before you start a side hustle, because you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, or because you're worried about what AI may do to your job, stop and ask yourself a few important questions. A side hustle can create additional income and eventually lead to greater freedom, but the wrong side hustle can become another job that you do not enjoy, another expense that you cannot afford, and another responsibility taking time away from your family. So before you buy a course, build a website, create a logo, or announce a new business, here are 5 questions you need to answer first. All right, so let's dive in. Question number 1 is this: what problem can I solve? You do not begin by asking what business is popular. You start by asking, what problem can I solve? Who has the problem? Is the problem important enough that someone would pay to have it solved? What experience, knowledge, access, or ability do I already possess? People often begin with the product they want to sell instead of the problem people need solved. A business is not built around what you want to create. It is built around a problem someone wants solved. So here are some examples. Administrative help for overwhelmed business owners. Do you know how many business owners are trying to do everything by themselves? They need help. Now, they may not be willing to pay you, a couple of $1,000s a month to help them, but they may be willing to channel a few $100s a month for you to assist them with administrative tasks like answering emails, responding to clients, scheduling their social media posts. These are things that business owners may be willing to pay you a couple of $100s a month for. And with a few business owners, this adds up. Another example could be tutoring or educational support. Do you know how many parents need assistance with their child's education, especially when it comes to homework? So, if you are gifted in tutoring, if you are a retired teacher, or maybe you're already an educator and you're looking to add another income source, look into tutoring, look into providing educational support. After you get a few clients, and you don't even have to do this in person necessarily, it may even be something that you can do online or remote. Another example would be bookkeeping or organization. Business owners are always needing someone to help them organize, especially when it comes to their money and finances. And not just business owners, there's everyday people that need assistance with organization. You have some people that are willing to pay for this. You may have professionals that are making a great deal of money, but they don't have time to cook, to clean. And some of them may have housekeepers, but sometimes people are a little finicky with who comes into their home. Okay. So you may be able to run errands for them. You may be able to organize their home. You may be able to make sure that their groceries are put up. And you may say to yourself, well, there's delivery services that deliver groceries now. Yes, but you never know who you're going to get. Why not be that person that someone can hire who can go to the store, get their groceries, bring them into their house? They trust you. It's the same person doing it every time, that goes and gets their groceries, that brings their groceries home, that puts the groceries away, that makes sure things are organized. You may even start dinner for them. So these are some things that you could potentially do. A few others are resume and interview assistance, consulting based on any type of expertise that you have. Maybe it's baking, decorating, photography, writing, training, even coaching, a service connected to something that you already do well. Your skill becomes valuable when it solves a real problem for a real person. There are services out there that people need, but you just have to tap into it, okay? So here's a practical step that you can take. Write down 3 problems that people regularly ask you to help them solve. All right, so let's dive into question number 2. Does this fit my actual life? A side hustle may sound good in theory, but can it realistically fit your current responsibilities? You have to ask yourself some deeper questions. How many hours do I honestly have available? How would I do the work? What responsibilities do I already carry? Will this require evenings, weekends, travel, inventory, or constant customer service? What boundaries will I need to establish? These are questions that you absolutely have to ask yourself, because you have to make sure that this new side hustle fits your actual lifestyle. How many hours do you honestly have available each week or each day to commit to it? Is it 10 hours? Is it 5 hours? Is it 3 hours? How would you do the work? Is it remote work? Would you have to go somewhere to get the work done? What responsibilities do you already carry? If you're a single mom, you already work a 9 to 5 job, maybe you're in school, you have to be realistic about the time that you're able to commit to this. And it has to fit within your lifestyle. It's not to say that it's impossible, but you just have to make sure that it's something that you can easily fit into your lifestyle. And you may say, well, if I'm a single parent and I'm already working full time, I'm in school, I have all these different things going on, how could I possibly fit something into my lifestyle? Trust me, there's a way to. Let's say, for instance, you're picking up your kids from school each day. Why not add maybe 2 or 3 more kids to pick up as well? Maybe you're the afternoon care for other parents. The kids come to your home. You're still going to do homework time with your children. You're still going to give them a snack as soon as they get home. You're going to start dinner. You may add a little extra in there. Those 2 to 3 hours of just adding another extra 2 to 3 kids, especially if they're older kids. Now, if they're smaller kids, that may be a little tough. But if they're older kids, it may be something that you can do for aftercare. Maybe they're too old to be at home by themselves, but the parents want an aftercare program or something for them to be a part of, but continue their routine. So by the time their parents pick them up 2 or 3 hours later, then they've done their homework, they've had a snack, they may have even eaten dinner already. And this is extra income. This is something that you can charge to other parents for the services that you render. So if there's a will, there's a way. All right. So be realistic in your schedule. Be realistic in the lifestyle that you have to where the type of side hustle that you're looking to take on, that your lifestyle can accommodate it. Do not build a side hustle around an imaginary version of your schedule. Build it around the life you actually have. If you work full time, if you have a family, serve in ministry, care for relatives, or have other major responsibilities, your business model must reflect that. A good opportunity that does not fit your life may not be a good opportunity for you. So here's a practical action that you can take. Identify the specific days and hours you can consistently dedicate to earning additional income. So let's go ahead and move on to question number 3. Can I start with what I already know and have? Many people believe they need a new certification, an expensive website, a complicated funnel, a large social media following, or thousands of dollars before they can begin. Sometimes those things become helpful later, but they should not automatically be the first move. You may have to ask yourself some deeper questions. What skills do I already have? What tools do I already own? Who is already within my network? Can I test this idea before making a large investment? Can I sell the service manually before automating it? Now, these are some questions that can really help you come to the realization of, can I start this with what I already know and have? You don't need a lot to get started. Just get started with what you have. If what you have is not enough to get started with, then you may have to consider, is that the right side hustle that I need to start with? Start by proving that people want the solution. Do not spend 6 months building something that no one has agreed to buy. You can often begin with a conversation, a simple offer, a payment method, or even one customer. This may be something that people say, oh, hey, you do great hair. Do you mind doing my hair sometime? And it's like, okay, I'm not sure if I want to do this. Start there. Start with what people are already asking you for or willing to pay you. Some people will say, hey, can you do this for me? I'll pay you. That's a side hustle. That's something you can potentially start with. So start small, but the most important thing is to get started. So I want you to remember, do not build the entire business before you prove the offer, meaning before you know that you have an offer, that someone, a service, a product that someone is willing to pay for. All right, so here's a practical step. Determine the simplest version of the service or offer you could test with one person. So let's move on to question number 4. Is there a clear path to profit? Revenue and profit are not the same thing. Someone can say they made $1,000 from a side hustle, but after advertising, software, supplies, taxes, travel, and the value of their time, very little actually remains. I want you to go a little deeper and ask some additional questions. What will I charge? What will it cost me to deliver? How many customers will I need? How will those customers find me? How much time will each customer require? And what will remain after expenses? A side hustle should improve your financial position. It should not quietly become another financial burden. All right? You do not need a complicated financial forecast to begin, but you should understand basic math. So remember, do not confuse being busy with being profitable. So here's a practical step that you can take. Write down your expected price, expenses, time commitment, and estimated profit from one sale, just one sale. This simplifies it and makes it much easier for you to determine, is there a clear path to profit? So here's the final question. Question number 5. Will this move me toward freedom or just make me busier? This may be the most important question of all of them. What are you actually trying to accomplish? Do you want an extra $500 a month? Are you trying to pay down debt? Are you building an emergency fund, which everyone should have an emergency fund, all right? Are you testing a future business? Are you preparing to leave your job eventually? Are you trying to create something that can grow without depending completely on your time? Which all of us should be doing that. A side hustle should have a purpose. Without a clear goal, people can spend years working nights and weekends without knowing whether the effort is moving them anywhere. It is acceptable for your first goal to be small. You may simply need extra income, but define the goal so that you can measure whether the side hustle is actually working or not. And remember, the goal is not merely to add more work to your life. The goal is to build greater financial capacity, options, and freedom. So here's a practical action step that you can take. Finish this sentence. My side hustle needs to help me accomplish blank within the next 12 months. What is it that your side hustle should help you accomplish within the next 12 months? Luke 14:28 teaches us to sit down and to count the cost before we begin to build. That is not a lack of faith, that is wisdom. Faith does not require us to jump into every opportunity simply because it looks promising. We can pray, plan, evaluate the cost, examine our capacity, and determine whether the opportunity aligns with the season that we're in. God may have given you abilities that can create additional income and serve other people, but those abilities still need direction, discipline, and a sound strategy. So remember, prayer should be a part of your business strategy, but planning should be a part of it too. So here's a recap. Before beginning a side hustle, ask yourself these questions. What can I actually solve? Can this fit my real life? Can I start with what I already know and have? Is there a clear path to profit? Will this move me toward freedom or merely make me busier? If this has helped you think differently about starting a side hustle, subscribe to the channel. I'm continuing to share practical, faith-led conversations around money, career, AI, business, and creating more options for your future. I'm also working on a free training, yes, free training about the 7 biggest mistakes keeping people trapped in the 9-to-5 paycheck cycle. It is not available just yet, but subscribers to this channel will be among the first to hear when it is released. So subscribe, stay connected, and make sure your notifications are turned on. And I want to close with this. You do not need to start the most popular side hustle. You need to identify the right problem, the right offer, and the right strategy for your life. Do not just start something because you're desperate to make more money. Slow down, ask the right questions, count the cost, and then move forward with wisdom. All right, guys, I hope this video has been a blessing to someone. And until next time, you all be blessed.